What is good, you guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the possibility of the Miami Heat moving on from their best player, Jimmy Butler, in the offseason. They just suffered a very, very depressing loss to the Nets after being up in the first half. The third and the fourth quarter was all Brooklyn, and probably the most important game of the season, which could determine seeding. They blew it. So we're going to be talking about, that game, but big picture, talking about the long run and whether it is time to turn the page on the Jimmy Butler era. Not because of him, but because at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do for your team. So we're going to talk about that. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. There are a couple of things I do want to address. Number one, my Twitter is in the description. I just did a Spaces last night for like an hour or so. It was a really, really good discussion with a couple of my boys. I think 20 or so people were in there listening to us talking about the Heat, chopping it up. So if you guys ever want to join, my Spaces and just chop it up with some Heat fans, man, my Twitter will be in the description, as well as my second channel, which I will be dropping a video on there extremely soon. I have it edited. I just gotta upload it as soon as I upload this video. So make sure you guys, follow that one. That's just NBA content, college content, draft content. March Madness is going on right now. So, and now that we got all that out of the way, we can comfortably talk about the Miami Heat. Well, not that comfortably because it's very, very hard to talk about them at this time because they've been nothing but disappointing for the fan base, and to be honest, it's kind of just been a very up and down season. But there's been more downs than ups, I can tell you that. Last night against Brooklyn, we came into it with a must-win mentality because Brooklyn was the only team that could really threaten us to lose a playoff spot and put us in the play-in, because they were right behind us. I think only a half a game behind us, and or maybe they even might have been tied with us at that time, because they're ahead of us now. So yeah, Brooklyn came in as a 7th seed. We were the 6th seed, but we were basically tied, if I'm not mistaken, or they were either half a game back or something like that. And whoever won, it would increase their chances of being a playoff team instead of falling into the play-in. And it was very important that we won that game. Especially UD night for him, but obviously because for seeding purposes, we don't want to play Boston in the first round. We'd rather play Philly or Cleveland if we can even get up to the 5 seed now. But unfortunately, after the first half was pretty good. Guys are making their shots, and Strus had like 13 points in 3 minutes, and Herro was going crazy. But in the second half, everything just kind of went to absolute, what, man. It was terrible. The defense, not only did the shots stop falling, the defense was god awful. It was probably one of the worst defensive games I've ever seen the Miami Heat play, ever. The Brooklyn Nets had 114 points with still 8 minutes left in the game. So that just shows you how bad the defense was from the Heat last night, in the second half especially. But yeah, man, it was extremely disappointing to watch. A lot of inconsistency on this team, like I said. And to be honest, I'm kind of just over this season. I've said it multiple times. Whether we're in the play-in or in the playoffs, we're not going too far. Probably a first-round exit, max second-round exit. So there's not too much to discuss as far as, what this team can do come playoff time. It's not anything special for sure. But yeah, man, we're going to be, talking about future implications for this team. And a lot of fans on Twitter, especially, last night when I was doing the Spaces, there was a couple of guys on there, that were mentioning, because I was talking about the future of each player on this team, and I was kind of doing a little bit of a game where I was like, should we keep this player or should we get rid of this player? And I brought up Jimmy, and a lot of people were like, we should trade Jimmy. And I'm kind of 50-50 with it. My head is like, trading Jimmy is probably sensible at this point, and my heart is like, I want him to retire in a Heat uniform. And this has nothing to do with his play on the court. It's just the fact that I don't really see, I think the championship window with him as our best player is either it has already closed, or it's closing right now. And the only way that I would be excited if he was on the team next season, obviously I want him to retire in a Heat uniform. That's kind of my what my heart is telling me. But my head is telling me that the only way that we will be competitive next season with him on this team is if we go and get a star or someone like that who can take the pressure off of him. And for that, we would have to probably give up Tyler, which I would be completely okay with because he's extremely inconsistent. But yeah, if we were to keep Jimmy and Bam on this, obviously Bam is not going anywhere, but if we were to keep Jimmy on this roster, you know, I would want to see the Heat being aggressive in the offseason. Now, obviously, in the offseason last year was an absolute dud. They didn't do anything. Same with the trade deadline. They didn't do anything either. Like, the only move that they made was signing Kevin Love, and he is washed. Like, we can all see right now. So, yeah, if you're going to keep Jimmy, like, it doesn't really make sense to bring the same core back alongside him. I know that, you know, obviously Kyle is probably going to get moved, but, like, he's not bringing much back, to be honest, because his contract, although it is expiring, is one of the worst in the league. And he's not good. Kyle is not good at basketball at age 37. Happy birthday, Kyle, but I don't know if you're going to get as much back in a trade. So we can't be relying on the value from Lowry and Robinson and whoever, you know, a couple of picks here and there. Like, those are not getting us anything that is going to help us be a contender. You know, it's going to have to be a big, drastic move, and the only move that we can make along those lines is giving up Tyler Herro, because out of everyone on this roster, apart from Bam and Jimmy, Herro has the most value, and he's probably, you know, the player that I would, you know, look to move if we were to keep Jimmy, because we can't, like, I love Herro, I love Jimmy, I love Bam, but, like, if all three of them are on the roster, we're not going to get that much better because we don't have any assets, we don't have any money. Like, we have, like, 2 draft picks, we can free up a third maybe, but, like, yeah, like, the possibilities of us getting a star to put us over the top is extremely low if we were to keep all 3 of them on the team. So one of them is going to have to go. It's not going to be Bam. Bam is, like, the most safe out of all of them. He's damn near untouchable at this point. But, you know, you got to pick between trading Jimmy and Tyler. Now, the Heat might just not trade either of them. They might just bring back both, because, and I think that's what they're going to do, because Pat Riley loves Tyler, and obviously Jimmy's the face of the franchise. So I don't think either of them are going to get traded, but I think one of them should get traded in the offseason. Now, I don't know who it's going to be. If I had to pick, I would probably say trade Tyler, because I still think that Jimmy Butler still has another year in him, at least, because we don't know when he's going to regress, but at least he has a year in him where he can give us, you know, really good production, especially come playoff time. If we just get someone to take the pressure off of him, like a Zach Levine or someone like that, Damian Lillard, if he asks out, Jaylen Brown, like anybody like that, it would be extremely, extremely good for the Heat team. Because imagine if the Bulls decide to trade Zach Levine and we want to give up Herro. Zach Levine's a 25-point per game scorer, extremely athletic, can create his own shot, and he'll be a great fit on this team. So, you know, him, Jimmy, and Bam, I like our chances a lot better than what we have right now, for sure. So I don't know if we're winning a championship guaranteed, but we're going to be, a contender for sure, is what I can say with Zach Levine on this team instead of Tyler Herro. It's just an example too. It could be any player, like any player along those lines. Like, it doesn't have to be Zach Levine, but yeah, man. I mean, we just gotta try to figure out, because a lot of fans are saying Jimmy should get traded, and we just have to pick a direction. That's really what I want this Heat team to do. I don't want, like in the offseason, the front office, I don't want them to bring the same core back. Like, moving Lowry is not enough. He's not going to bring anything back that is going to, drastically change the direction of this team. We don't have a direction at the moment, because we think that we are contenders, but, like, we're nowhere near, and we're a mediocre playing team. Now, the worst spot in the NBA to be is the play-in. And because you're literally mediocre, especially, like, we're like the 7th seed. The 7th seed is, like, literally like halfway, through both sides of the conference. So we're literally in the middle of the Eastern Conference standings, which means we're not going to have a top pick, but we're also not going to be a contender. The direction has to be picked. Whether you're trading Jimmy, and the only reason I would say trading Jimmy is kind of sensible is because if you feel like the championship window is closed, although you love him and although you want him to retire in Miami, like, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. It's a business, and maybe trading Jimmy would help us get younger. We can build around Bam, Tyler, and whoever we get back for Jimmy, and it would be a lot more young and fun, like not too many expectations, but we can just let these guys grow and develop. So yeah, man, I think that trading Jimmy, could help us along those lines. If you want to get younger, if you want to rebuild, if you want to kind of blow this thing up and take our L with the Jimmy Butler era. Like it was a good era while it lasted. A finals appearance, 2 conference finals appearances. Like it was not like a complete full success, but it was successful in that way, because a lot of good memories from that era. And obviously like the bubble appearance, the final appearance in the bubble, and like the conference finals appearance last season. Like it had its really good moments, man. But it also had like some bad moments, like in 2021 where we got swept in the first round by Milwaukee, and this year, which is arguably worse than that year. So if you want to cut your losses and kind of just take your L with Jimmy and just be like, it's been a good 4 or 5 years with Jimmy, man. We're just gonna cut our losses with him, and we're gonna try to get younger, rebuild, retool, and get some draft capital, get a young stud, someone like that. If Jimmy was gonna get traded, though, I would be looking at Jaylen Brown of the Celtics, because I think there were some reports coming out from Boston that Jaylen Brown might be unhappy with his role or something. So if Jaylen Brown is looking to move on from Boston, and if you have to trade Jimmy, I would go get JB. That would probably be my number 1 target, because JB, Bam, and Herro for the future is really, really nice. But yeah, I digress. That's just me talking about Jimmy getting traded. The more realistic option is probably trading Tyler if Jimmy's going to stay on this team next season, because I don't expect Jimmy to get traded. I think that they've invested too much into him to move him on. They're extremely stubborn, the front office of this team, so I don't think they're going to trade Jimmy Butler away. Tyler Herro is a possibility, but again, like we saw it last year, like they valued Tyler Herro extremely a lot, and the whole Donovan Mitchell thing, that's all documented. So I don't know if Tyler's gonna get traded either, but out of the two, if I had to say who had the higher chance of getting moved, it would probably be Tyler, because Jimmy's the face of this franchise. Like, not only as far as talent is he a lot better than Tyler, it's going to push us into contention if we trade Tyler for a star rather than mediocrity. Like if we were to trade Jimmy, it would push us into a rebuild, which would, not be as exciting. It would be exciting for the development, but it wouldn't be as exciting for winning games. But if we were to trade Tyler for a star, it would be a lot more exciting. This team would be a contender again. So I think trading Tyler is the likelier option, but I don't really think they're going to do either. I think they're just going to, my prediction is that they're just going to trade Kyle, maybe trade Duncan, do something with, in free agency with Gabe and Strus. They'll do something with that. They'll either let them walk or they'll re-sign them. And probably trade Oladipo. That's probably going to be it. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, man. Should the Heat trade Jimmy Butler? Should they trade Tyler Herro? What do you want them to do in the offseason? I'll see you later as always. Peace.